What's up, y'all? Welcome to Wordplay. My name is Odell Bazell II, and I am here with my host, the one and only Stanley David Manuel Noriega Jose Rodriguez Ramirez
Ramírez,
Peterson
nuevo.
Segundo.
Great to be here. Great to be here. Oh, they're in for a treat.
They're in for a treat, y'all. For those of you watching, for those of you listening, this is probably your first time hearing about wordplay. And so what we're going to do in this episode, we're just going to talk about what wordplay is, our new podcast, and why wordplay is in your ear holes more than likely, and what we hope to accomplish with it. But before we jump into all of that, for those of you that don't know who we are, we're just going to take a little bit of time to let you know, and I'm going to use Stan's line. And you'll often hear me, if you listen and tune in, you often hear me use Stan's words. This is the only time actually that I will be acknowledging that I will be using his words. The other times he will either tell you or he will not even know because he would have forgot that he gave them to me. So that line is, hey Stan, for those that don't know you, why don't you take about 30 seconds to just brag on yourself?
I am considered literally one of the world's greatest speakers in two languages, English y Español también. I help people find their rhythm now, right now.
Ahora.
Ahora mismo. And it's important that folks understand the power of their words, the power of their voices, for it is one of the first gifts we were ever given. So I help people understand that better than they ever knew through interactive sessions, consulting, and keynotes. It is my dream to make sure the world just receives more peace, love, health, wealth, and happiness. As they say in Spanish, de aquí en adelante, from here on. And I'm the best at that.
Ooh, that's pretty good, man. Yeah, I think you did that in 30 seconds. I'm gonna do my best to do it in 30 seconds. I'm Odell Bazell, and I guess I am considered the greatest wordsmith ever. I'm a literary author. I'm also a nonfiction author, a lyricist, rapper, poet, professional speaker. And if you ask my wife, I can talk a lady out of her certain things. You know what I mean? So,
hey, I know what you mean. Hey, we are great dads, great husbands. That's what we are first.
Allegedly, that's what they tell us anyway. We also, Stan and I are both Batman. We are the cavalry. But yeah, more than that, I believe that words build words, words build worlds, and we are here on Wordplay to help people better play with their words so that they can get paid. I think that's kind of like the bottom line with it all. You all get to know us a little more as we go through here. Know us pretty intimately. A lot of people don't know us that well, actually. The hundreds of people that we've coached, the millions of people that we reached through our speaking engagements and through our consulting and online and all that. A lot of people don't know us. So the reason why we decided to come together on this project with Wordplay is because, well, I'll give my reason, Stan, and then I'll throw it to you to give you yours. Okay. As a Black man in America, I was often picked as the safe Black guy. And what that means is I was the one that could talk well, that could speak well. You speak so articulately and all that good stuff when I was younger. And I always found pride in that. And I see athletes, I see politicians, I see entertainers, I see all these individuals with amazing platforms, and they're messing it up. They're messing up their money. They're messing up the ideals and the ideas and the minds that they reach. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it. So for me personally, this podcast is a mission to help my people better play with your words so that you can get paid. And so my clear objective here is for you who are listening, if you are famous or not, pay me to help you with your words. That's my objective. Stan, what's yours?
Similar objective. You know, there's obviously frustration, and it's interesting, to turn what was once considered, I'll say the the backhanded compliments. Wow, you speak so well. You're so articulate. Hey, man, well, you're the whitest black guy I know. All those things that were said to break me down it's one of the things now that continues to build me up, especially as I'm so much more comfortable in my skin, who I am, and who I grow to be. And to reiterate, let's say being a black man is to say that being black, it's not what I eat. It's not the music I listen to. It's not my favorite rapper. It is not slang. It is who I am from the inside out. And people being comfortable in their own skin and recognize the same. But because for you, maybe you're listening to this and you're not a black man and you're not wondering about that enough thing, but maybe for you, it's smart enough, accepted enough, loved enough. But whatever it is, we want to help you find the proper words to express yourself, because folks are struggling having difficult conversations. And that goes to, obviously, celebrities, politicians, executives of companies are struggling having difficult conversations, but we will help you find the right words and have discussions around what it means to create the right words right here with Wordplay. Man, I'm so glad I came up with this idea all by myself while I was in the mountains on a cold winter day. I just by myself. Hey, I went up there. I didn't even have, I didn't have even a big coat. I just went up there in a sweatsuit with my own initials by myself, just enough food to make it 2 days. And at the end of my food is the moment I came down by myself, called you when I got service. I said, Odell, you know what we should do? That's exactly how the story went. It sounds like I'm full of crap. It's because I absolutely am. Did not happen, but I had you in. I reeled you in. Okay, back to you.
And one thing about this show is that we're letting you into our world, inside the inside jokes. And one thing that Stan and I do, we respectfully steal from one another. We take each other's jokes, we take each other's words, we take each other's ideas. And so if, as you're listening to the show, if you ever hear us say something like, I'm so glad I thought about this all by myself, if we're intentional about saying that, that means that we definitely did not think about it all by ourselves. Or if you hear us say, as my great grandfather, insert some random name, that means we also stole it. And so that's because we're friends and we can do that. You should not do that, because you probably won't be able to say the words the way that we will, but you should pay us. Then you can have our words if you pay them for it. So
that's the easiest way to get our words. It's stupid because it's like you want to be able to give the words context and expression. There's an entire art form to using words, and we also see that struggle on television in interviews, where we can literally see people who are trying to find the words, or they're trying to say the words, but we're using them in wrong context, wrong inflection, wrong context, struggling. That stops now. Get out your own way so you can get in to the best ways.
I love it, man. So how this is going to go, usually, sometimes we'll bring on a guest. We might even be looking for a guest host, probably a young woman. So if you're interested, let us know. But I think the biggest thing that we want to do is we want to bring out different ideas. So we'll be reviewing podcasts, how we can better help them get better with their words, topics, interviews, all that stuff. We'll bring up media faux pas. So if somebody is interviewed, somebody famous, and they mess up, we'll bring those things up. We'll bring up pop culture. We'll bring up hot topics. We'll bring up all that stuff. And so just to kick it off, Stan, there are a few things that you're not supposed to talk about publicly. Can you name a couple things you just should not talk about? If you don't know the people, what is it?
I got you. Religion, race, politics. Those jump out. Religion, race, politics.
Religion, race, politics. How about we just talk about all of them, kind of rolled up into one today? Why the Democrats lost the election. That's right. We're coming in hot on Wordplay. Why the Democrats lost the election. First and foremost, we have to establish context. It's very, very important. Because when you talk about politics, when you talk about religion, when you talk about race, talk about sexuality, when you talk about sex, when you talk about all these things, there has to be a reason around it. So context, it's got to make sense. First and foremost, I will declare my political affiliation. Are you ready for it, Stan?
Yo,
you ready? I'm going to declare it. I am a Republicratarian. Republicans. It's a word that
I would not live. Wasn't ready for that.
Wordplay, right? I'm making it up. It's a word that doesn't exist. I'm actually not passionate about politics. Does that surprise you?
A little bit. Why? How not? Like in a place where folks are, I don't know, passion, easily triggered by politics. How are you not?
I don't care. And let me make sure that I choose my words carefully. I don't care about national politics. Here's why. I'll give you one statement, then I'll throw it to you, Stan, to just kind of establish context of where you are with politics. I strongly considered going into politics.
Okay.
And I was told, and this is something that I teach, this is something that I coach. If you're thinking about going into something, you should find somebody that's already doing that thing successfully and connect with them. So I found a politician from my hometown. He knew a friend that one of my best friends growing up. They went to school together. And so I connected to him and we became cool. And he told me, he's a state politician at the time. He told me, he said, at the state level is where things get done. National politics, and I quote, is like reality TV.
Whoa.
It's kind of real, but a lot of it is orchestrated. A lot of the fighting between the parties, it's orchestrated. A lot of these people are actually friends, but they have to act like they're not. And so when he told me that, I said, okay, so it's a show. I was watching a show. So Real House Husbands and Housewives of Washington or whatever. So
a good show, by the way.
Right. Once I found that out, I said, oh, so if I'm going to watch a debate, I basically, in my opinion, I might as well be watching NFL football. You know what I mean? So that's what I say. I'm really apathetic about that. And that's how I feel. So the election, for the people that are upset about it, I empathize with you. I understand, but I'm not personally invested in that. I'm always personally invested in people, not events. So the event I could care less about, the people I care deeply about. So that's how I feel about it, Stan. So tell the people how you feel about it. Don't hold anything back. It's wordplay, y'all.
Wordplay. You know, when you were speaking, I was initially thinking like WWE. Like people know it's not, all the way real, but they tune in anyway, and then treat it as if it is. And I often, tell folks, I feel like national politics is it's the citizen Super Bowl. So that means like, I have like my two, because think about this. I saw the ballots. I didn't even realize how many other people were running for president. All right. Let's just talk about that for a minute. I was like, Cornel West back out here.
Right.
It was a shock to me that there were three or four other people running for president of the United States, but that's another conversation. But it's like, hey, it's like the Super Bowl. You don't even know why, unless you're from that city. You don't know why you're cheering for the team. That's just your team. And hey, if they cheat to win, if they don't cheat to win, if they do what, it's as long as your team wins. And then 2 days after the Super Bowl, your life returns to business as usual for most folks. Certainly a month after. Now there's still like people could bring up something that happened in the Super Bowl and that gets you lit up again, fired up. But again, like typically like a couple days after the Super Bowl, it's just kind of like, I didn't go to Disneyland either. And that is part of what I understood. And to your point, I always tell folks that like I had aspirations to be the first Black president of the United States. That was literally my dream while I was in college and shortly after. And then Barack, you took it from me. Well, not exactly, because biracial. So not exactly. I could be the first one 100%. Well, not exactly. Slavery happened. So not 100%. Anyway, you get my point. But I interned for a governor. I worked on Capitol Hill. And it's interesting because people think they know. And I've seen exactly what you're talking about. I've been years ago in, Attorney General Ashcroft's office when he was meeting with other people very amicably, folks that maybe other folks did not my point is, and heck, I had friends from the other party. And it's interesting now as an adult, and you hope that people are just willing to be more open. And for when I say, if this really matters to you, and it should, and I understand, hey, are we trying to get involved in the school board? Are we going to city council meetings? Are we part of the Chamber of Commerce? Do we go to their events? Like, are we plugging into like literally, zoning committees that are in the town or the city that you live in, where there might be 10 people in a meeting making decisions for millions of dollars and thousands of citizens in the city? Are we doing that? Are we doing that?
Nope.
That is what brings us to part of this conversation. So just a quick aside, get involved in local politics, even if you're just going to meetings. Just go to meetings. There are a lot of folks that run unopposed in local politics. Anyway, all that being said, as life has gone on, I do my best to control what I can control. And what I can control is not a world away. It's right here where I am and the people that I immediately touch. And I do my best to be the president of my household, the president of my friendships and my relationships. And then I watch how my world changes from the inside out.
I love it, man. I love it. I try to be the president too, but then my wife says, go take the trash out, and I'm busted back down.
Disrespected intern. And I don't say that because interns are always disrespected, but just like, hey, all right. Okay, what's this again? All right. We're out here.
Yeah, man. I want to say something funny because we like to keep it light on wordplay. What's so funny, the politicians that run at a national level, their lives are just totally different than us. But could you imagine whoever lost the presidential election at any time? Could you imagine them after the concession speech, after all that stuff, coming home and their significant other, their spouse, looking at them and like, oh man, I feel so bad for you. So these clothes have been sitting here for weeks. I'm just wondering if you're going to fold them or not. But so
for real. Because you might see them as somebody else sees them as like, hey, dinner?
This campaign's over. Finally, we can have sex again. But anyway, so why did the Democrats lose the election, man? I honestly had no idea which way things were going to go. I am very adamant about never declaring who I vote for publicly. So that's one thing. I'm very adamant about that. That is a secret that I will take with me until the highest bidder wants it. But why did the Democrats lose, Stan? I thought they had it in the bag, man.
And I'll try not to get too long-winded, but it's one of the worst mismanagement of campaigns, I won't say in the history of national government, but it's close. One of the worst marketed campaigns and one of the worst spoken campaigns almost in the history of our modern our modern government. And the marketing, respectfully, was absolutely atrocious. And some could argue that it lacked, despite what you would think, despite what's said, it lacked inclusion. Arguably, possibly more so than the other party. And we could talk about that later. But they lost, in short, as we jump into this, because of one of the worst marketed campaigns in modern history. And can I just say briefly why, and then I'll throw it to you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I'm intrigued. I'm interested.
A couple of things. There were almost zero action words or command words involved in their marketing campaign. Almost zero. There was no do. There's no go. That did not exist. Okay. And it could be argued that they borrowed from a campaign that was already unsuccessful. We can track back to Hillary Clinton's campaign, And part of that I want to say was, they went with "I'm with her." I think that was better together. Maybe that, like, between those two things. And they used that 2 campaigns later, and it wasn't successful then. And without even putting more gas in the tank or more fuel to that fire, they literally ran with the same words that were not successful before. Unlike their counterparts, who, again, it could be argued by, again, hear me, folks, because you may disagree with this, but hear me, folks. The statements were more inclusive. Hear me.
The statements,
the marketing statements were more collectively inclusive. I never heard from the Republican Party, he's not trying to get your vote. I never heard that. Well, even if that were the case, no one ever told me that. People literally told me when I brought it up, she's not trying to get your vote. The Democrats don't need your vote. They don't want your vote. That was literally said. Okay. Now let's go to the Republican Party. Make America great again. Just hear what I'm saying, folks. It's about America. It's not about a gender. It's not about a race. It's about America. So if you don't know who's running, if you close your eyes and they say no names, they just tell you what they're saying, and you say that statement, it's about what? America. Now, that statement was so good, it won one time, they ran it back. And then, you know what they did? Another action word. Take America back. Whoa. Who took it? Where's it been? So now we're talking about 2 action statements that people could literally turn into merch and have, versus some kind of cloudy possibility or person that I may or may not like. So when you make it about an entity, like when it's about an entity and the other is about a person, which one is bigger? The entity. So you almost forget to think about the person, but some people did. Some people are like, I don't even know that person. The entity, what I want America to be in these simple terms. Okay. And that's my long answer to your short question. That is in large part, as we kick off, why they lost. The marketing was atrocious in most of the speeches given. And I mean, from bottom to top, from concert to debate, the speeches were god awful.
Man, I love what you said there, and this is why you should hire us.
Yeah,
to come in and do some work for you, because Stan just gave you a very micro view of the specific words that were selected. I'm going to go more macro.
Okay.
Kind of like a wider scale. Marketing in and of itself is showing people that could pay you, or in this instance, vote for you, why they should vote for you. And I told you this, Stan. Remember, I said I'm going to vote for the person that lies to me the best. You remember me saying that?
You literally told me.
Yeah, you remember me saying that? The person that lies to me the best.
Every time we talked, you said that. I know you're going to share that with him today.
Yes, because everybody knows that politicians lie. Everybody knows it. But like you said, with WWE, with reality TV, lie to me, make me feel good about it. I didn't hear any reasons why, other than your deep-seated belief in whatever that person. So I don't like this candidate, so I'm not going to vote for them. And what we have to understand in marketing, most people are undecided about you.
Whoa.
Most people are undecided about you. So you have to sway them. That's what happened in this election. The Republican Party made the undecided people say, yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to go here because economy.
Wow.
Economy. Wow. Yeah, sure. Is he a felon? Sure. But is he going to get this stuff done? Probably. We're going to give that person a chance. And so for you listening, and I want if you're a politician that lost, if you're a politician that is running again, I want you to understand you have to get the undecided people decided on you. That's what you have to do. And the Democrats didn't do that. The Democrats didn't do that. And I'm going to say this, and probably on wordplay, I'm probably going to be the one that says stuff that's like, man, Odell's something wrong with him more than Stan will, because Stan is more, he's a little more publicly, he's a little more buttoned up than me publicly.
You're richer than me too, so you can take more chances.
Well, you know that who's looking at each other's pockets. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying that $100,000 proposal that you're waiting on, you know, it might tip it in your favor. That's all I'm saying. But
go ahead.
We underestimate how many people don't pay attention. I'll say it like,
oh man, I don't. By the way, you don't. The general public does.
The general public underestimates how many people don't pay attention. And for VP Harris, you know, presenting as a Black woman in America, stellar resume, all of that stuff, she just didn't make people choose.
Yeah. Just
didn't make people choose. And also, I'll say this and I'll throw it back to you. Not remarkable. And here's what I mean: the ability to remark. Let's break down that word. Remember, this is wordplay. Remarkable, the ability to remark. If we go back to the debate, most people were talking about after it's all said and done, most people were talking about, are they really eating dogs and cats in Ohio? That people were talking about that. Was it true or not? We don't know. But Stan, what's your quote about the truth? I want you to say it first, so that when I steal it in episode 7,
nothing beats the truth but a good story. Nothing beats the truth but a good story. You don't have to like that, by the way. That is the truth. Nothing beats the truth but a good story. That's it.
So, I mean, the stories that were being told that were remarkable. It's like, wow, okay, this person is real. And then with the VP debate, JD Vance, he Harvard grad, like all this stuff, and he tripped up, you know, Tim Walz in a lot of different ways. And it's like, I don't like this guy, but he sounds right.
Right.
He sounds right, and he sounds smart. So I'll wrap it all up with this and saying this, and then I'll throw it back to Stan. Why the Democrats lost the election? They lost the election because they didn't make the undecided people choose them. That's why they lost. And the way they did that was not being demonstrative enough, not repelling enough people, but also, and I have this hat on, and I'll have some kind of merchandise that talks about getting known. They just didn't get known enough to the people that were undecided. Stan?
You want to know, I'm just making notes so I make sure to say two things. So first I'll start with, you know, when you're talking about your words and expression and if people are in doubt, so you're at a disadvantage when people feel like the present administration is not operating at full tilt the way they should be. And if they know you're part of that administration, again, to Odell's point before, what must you do? You must make people choose. That means purposefully and intentionally saying, hey, I wasn't in charge. If I were, or I didn't even agree with that. But now that I'm in charge, that never happened. So, because again, folks want to understand your words simply and crisply. If you never, and they want to make sure your words are simple and crisp. If you don't do that, then there's still people that can say, well, you're still attached to that person so much so, and you won't even deny your role. You won't even separate yourself. You had an opportunity, several opportunities, to present yourself in a different light and go into hostile territory. I'll go back to what the Republican Party did. I want to say Donald Trump did an interview at the National Black Journalists.
Yep, NABJ.
At the national conference. He sat on stage with 3 black journalists, with 3 or 4. Now, I honestly feel, and I'll say this respectfully, that they were either not prepared or not coached well enough to have that conversation. I know they're very sharp people. I believe they have degrees. They are professionals. They are amazing at what they do somewhere else. They dropped the ball on an amazing opportunity to interview who is now president-elect. They did themselves, much like the Democratic Party, a wild mismanagement of opportunity when interviewing the president of the United States, the past president of the free world, and now president-elect. When it comes to presenting and using your words, there's far too much emphasis on how can I get this one-liner to pop? How can I get someone to go, mm-hmm? How can I get an amen from my audience? And you got an amen, but you didn't get a vote. Now, which one? People, they were going for amens instead of votes. I have one more thing to share. The Democratic Party goes for amens instead of votes. And that is how you're easily forgotten. So you get forgotten that way. Why? I'll give you an example. When you talk about, I don't know again, because I didn't watch any of I saw clips, but when you tell me like, oh, is Beyonce performing? Hey, yeah, is Beyonce performing? When the event is over, the question is not about policy, is not about the vote. Most folks ask, did Beyonce perform? Now, where's the energy of that? Again, you could say, because we're talking about why they lost. If you are part of the Democratic Party, if you're part of the leadership outside of hiring us to help you be better with your words and your marketing, I'm going to give a suggestion that is not going to be popular and will not be received well, but I'm just going to tell you what it is. It's put an end to the hip hop concerts as a part of your Democratic strategy. If you want to win again, put an end to that. Put an end to it. There are a lot of folks pretending to love these live concerts that are going in the booth and voting for somebody else. And I'm not just talking about black folks. I just mean folks in general. Like they might turn on looking for some substance. And it's this happening. They may be tired of seeing who you think my favorite rapper is when I don't really rock with rap for real. Or you can talk about how educated Black women are, how educated Black men continue to be, how involved Black fathers are. The most involved men in the lives of children are Black men. That means we care about what goes in here and in here, and other dads do too outside of the Black. Okay, but I'm just saying. So knowing what you know about us, how educated we are, how formally educated we are, what makes you think that I want to tune in and watch someone twerking or rapping on TV when it's supposed to be about our policy and economics? What makes you think? Because now I'm saying the general you, now the general I. I'm offended. This is what you've minimized me to? So there are folks that stayed home instead of voting in the first place, all because you wanted to appeal to the lack of a better word, the cavemen in my brain, as opposed to the intellect and my upper echelon approach to the way I see life and want to live my life. Put an end to your concerts. Find a different place for them if you want to win. That's it.
Man, you led me to something, Stan, before we're closing this up. And I told you the original reason why we put wordplay together is because we want these candidates, we want the entertainers, we want the individuals that get paid millions of dollars to pay us.
Yeah, for sure.
So not hiding that at all. Yeah. But Stan said something that I firmly believe, and this is something that I was going to do in the event that I ran for political office. And it's simply do this. Tell the constituent or your potential voter or whoever what role they truly play, and let them know what role you truly play.
Oh, wow.
As simple as that sounds, nobody does it. And Stan was speaking to something that I believe is, and we might continue the conversation at another time, but this is something we used to say when we were younger: play me better than that. Play me better than that. Like you think that having the celebrity and all this stuff is gonna move someone that has high intellect? No, it's cool. I like Beyonce. Or if you don't, because there's a lot of closet Beyonce haters as well, but they're scared of the beehive. But
yes, they are. There's a lot of cats. Hey, there's a lot of cats that didn't get any nookie. They ain't getting any canoodling after the election because of who, you know what I'm saying? That happened. I'm good, but I know that happened. Go ahead.
But and this is for every single person that's running for politics. So we are giving you a free $10,000 lesson for those of you that are in that world.
Minimum.
All you have to do, and I'll touch on another point Stan said, with VP Harris, she didn't have to put Joe or the administration under the bus, but she could have just very intelligently, as she's so intelligent, very intellectually said, well, my role as the vice president is support. And if anybody's ever been in a relationship before, your spouse or your partner, they don't 100% do everything that you agree upon 100%, but you're there to support them. You're there to love them. You're there to be their rock when things get messed up. That's what I have done. And are there some things that I've spoken with the president about that maybe could have gone one way or the other? Of course. But that's my president. In America, that's your president. And we support our president, even if we don't 100% agree with them. A statement like that would have been like, ooh, that would have got the men that want their wives to support them to be like, ooh, okay. That just something simple like that. But she's also, in that example, educating the constituent. I'm the VP. I support. I'm supposed to be quiet, actually. If you hear from me, something's going wrong. So that's on the one side. But then let the constituent know what their role is. Are y'all confused by the popular vote, the electoral college? There's some people, Stan, I saw this online. There's some people that think the electoral college is an actual college. People don't know. So
that's fair.
You don't have to go into it as a social studies lesson, but you can help people understand, like, when you make this vote, this is what your vote really means. And this is how it's really helpful.
Mm-hmm.
You need to understand that your vote means this. It doesn't mean that gas is going to go down as soon as you vote for this president. That's not what it means. But what it means is that you're more informed about what's going on. So you might not know who controls the gas prices, but you can know who's going to fix that pothole in your neighborhood. You can know who's going to elect the superintendent. You can know that stuff. Just let them know about the process, because if we can keep it funky, if we can keep it a G, the electoral college is confusing to me. Wordplay.
Wordplay for me too. And it should be. I'm like, wait a minute, but that's a small state, but it has more. But how do I leave? Wait a minute.
And so wait, the presidential election is the only election that's not decided by a popular vote.
Make that make sense.
Well, this is the reasoning behind it. And as we're winding this down, we're landing this plane. The reason why they say that is because it's impossible to count all of the votes in a timely manner. That's one answer that I heard. Like once America got so big, it was just impossible in a timely manner to count all the votes. So they just went like, hey, this state, who won this state? All right, cool. We're going to give more votes to this or whatever. Again, I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what people say. And the only thing that I'll say as we go into this, as we're closing up, because we always like to do a special close, is that I think, Stan, you can say it better than I'm about to say it, because you said it first. And again, this is the only episode I'm going to give you all of like I'm gonna let you know that these words are yours. Like the other ones, I'm taking
running ads.
Control. You said something about voting for yourself. Could you talk about that?
Yeah, so the notion of, people being really upset, obviously during the election, and some people feeling, it in pure jubilation because of the election. But ultimately, whether you're triggered or not by who you voted for or who someone else voted for, I ask you, have you voted for yourself? When you wake up every morning, do you vote for you? Do you vote for your family? Do you vote for what's best for you collectively? And sometimes that means asking yourself the question, what do I watch? What do I listen to? What do I say to myself? Are you voting for you? Because that is a vote that ultimately you have to live with. You literally have to live with that vote and not any other vote. So voting for you means more than you can ever imagine. Work on that too.
That's good. See, he was going to say it a whole lot better than I would say it.
Appreciate that.
I would say something as simple as this. And I'll probably end a lot of these episodes this way. No matter what happens, no matter who's elected, no matter who steps out of office, no matter who says something crazy on TV, no matter how many bottles of baby oil anybody has in their house, them bills still gonna be due for you.
Still gonna be due for you.
So do what you can. Say the right words to pay them bills.
That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact. That's a fact.
Man. Anyway, as we close out, I always want to make sure that we do it in a standard way. Who are the people that should hire us? Like, who are the people that we want to hire us? I will say the politicians that lost this election, whether it be a national level, local level. We can do remote things, or we can travel to be where you are, to make sure that you're saying the right words. We also offer speech writing services as well. Stan and I have conducted over 2,000 speeches, to whereas we've been paid as well. So that is definitely something that we could do. Also running marketing campaigns as well. That's something that we can do. Stan, is there anything I'm forgetting?
No, copywriting, obviously speech writing, marketing, and so your social media presence, like that as well, like your media in general. How are you appearing on camera? That stuff. So all that stuff combined, yeah.
Yeah, we charge a lot of money though, so make sure that if you don't have a lot of money, do not contact us for this. If you don't have a lot of money, I'm just saying, because but if you want to hire us to come speak at your company or anything like that, or your school or anything, your association, that is something that we can do. Just please reach out to us. You can find our information around this video, around this podcast, and I'll say it here first, and I'll throw it to Stan to close it out. We'll see y'all at the top, not from the top. Keep doing and saying what you want to happen.
Yeah, and briefly, I'll just tell you all that what you all hear right now is also worth its weight in gold. So you might go back, listen to this a couple times, watch this a couple times, do that, because there are lessons embedded all through this podcast episode, and that will happen the same as well. So then you grow to a point where you're willing to invest at the point that you want to be at. And Odell says it's often we pay for where we're at, and that comes. And I also tell people it's important to pay for your friends. Every relationship I have that matters, I paid for. I paid to get into the place where my wife was today. And now I live my dream life because I was willing to pay for it. I had friends I could only dream of, like an Odell, because I paid to be where he was hanging. We paid to be where each other were. So most folks, understand, think about the places you've paid to go. And that often tells you the kind of friends you have. So if you don't have the friends that you want to have or relationships you want to build, pay to be where the people are that you want to hang out with most. And remember you're good, you're great, you're worth it. And effort on fire beats knowledge on ice. And beyond that, you absolutely have to understand, as Odell and I, more people need to know
you.
You.
Wordplay, y'all. Peace.